discrimination. Oh, never mind.
There are a few friendly changes that will be making, just like $3,000
Any other questions for the bill authors? Any other questions? Please stay in order. Okay. Chair Rosar.
But on the soccer side.
Senator Bowen. I'm sorry, sir. Please stay in order.
Can you explain the differences between sex, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression?
We can go through each of them individually, but in your packet includes a copy of the basic definitions, both social and legal definitions that we have. In the process of putting together this bill, we actually surveyed most of the Big 12, Big 10, Pac 10 institutions, as well as Fortune 500 companies to determine what terms were actually included. So hopefully those questions are answered in your packet, but I'm happy to entertain those questions without having to read.
Thank you. Senator Holster.
Senator Helsher. So basically all this bill does is like, I'm still don't get what you mean.
We want the universities to have just one single unified policy, and also to make sure that the terms that are currently covered federally are covered in the policy. There are also some suggestions in there that are not currently covered federally, but
So basically combining 6 bills, you want to combine.
A unification and suggestion of also additional terms.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Sons. Oh, withdraw. Are there any questions for the bill officers? Any other questions for the bill officers? Senator Egan. Don't even know. Yeah. I advise anybody who wishes to see our aid the authors talk about it. Anybody else? Any other questions for the authors? Okay, seeing none, I'll allow for student services. Thank you. Any other items for opening session? Any other items for open session? Seeing none, we'll allow for the executive report. Okay, before we start our fight, almost done. People will go get out here a little bit early, so that's been closed. Please stand in order. Welcome back.
Well, howdy.
Howdy.
Okay, let's take a look at the agenda for tonight, what we just did. The Student Government Association Accountability and Transparency Act. The Senate Legislation, Transparency and Accountability Bill. Student Body Vice President, Tate. The SGA report on the proposed fee increases, election regulations, committee addition, constitutional amendment, reapportionment, Green Space Preservation Bill, the Executive Branch Bylaw Transparency Act, the Judicial Branch Bylaw Transparency Act, the Executive Committee Referendum Neutrality. There were 11 bills on this agenda, and there's two more that we had at the end. We started this meeting with 11 bills on our agenda, 8 of which are rule changes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I know people have taken an opinion on that. And I'm not going to criticize the work that's been done on these bills, but what I am going to talk about is it's November 4th. We're almost at the end of the fall semester. We get into the spring semester, we've only got a couple months. Legitimately, while we're on campus, we've got 1 month now, and then about 2 months before campaigning. About 3 months left in this session for us to really get things done. And yes, there's some tail end after campaigning where we'll still be in charge, and I sure hope we're pushing through that. I'm going to be pressing as hard as I can. We're running out of time. And I can't look back and think of a whole lot of things to really hang my hat on that we've done that have benefited students and served students. Now, right now I think it's appropriate for me to stop and commend one person who did a whole heck of a lot of work tonight. Senator Bowen was involved in almost every single one of these bills, or all of them, I'm not sure. But that's impressive. That's a lot of work. But what I want to ask us, as a student government association, execs, and I don't really care what side you're on, if there is a side or if there should be a side. What are we doing outside of this room that really impacts students? Yes, we have very low teenagers proposals. That got handed to us, and hopefully we'll continue to keep these as low as possible. But what about parking? What about buildings being built on parking lots, including E10 on a parking lot I used to use on Mitchell, right next to the Blocker building, where there used to be a parking lot. All of those people are getting moved further and further away from campus. What are we doing? Bus routes. Every year we have to readjust because there's new parking complexes and there's new people living in different places. What are we doing? Queue jumps, freshman grade school. We've talked about these things. What are we doing? The academic calendar. We've got people working on and doing research, but where is it? What are we doing? Dining. The issue of sustainability. You have a referendum where 76% of our student body said we should do more for sustainability. Fear not. Because there's no reason for us to take an opinion on that because the students are going to offer theirs in the spring. Are we doing anything now that we may not need a fee to accomplish to improve sustainability? What about textbooks? I have a class this semester. I took last spring the Q drop because the T transfer is not very fun. I kept the old textbook. We moved to a new edition. All the problem numbers have changed. The content really not the same. I'm using the same old textbook. The new book costs over $300. What are we doing to fight for students to keep that cost low? To work at the system level, to work at the state level, to work at the university level, or what? To do that. We've talked about the legislature. We heard reports from the state legislature and expecting that the next session here in 2 years from the state of Texas is going to be a little lean. And we're going to have to work really hard to make sure that Texas A&M continues to get funded. We talked about working with the legislature so that they will fund our university so that we have money so students don't have to pay ridiculous amounts of tuition. We don't have to increase 32% like they did in the state of California. But if our legislator is short on cash, and higher ed might be something that gets cut, what are we doing now to make sure that students don't have to pay an astronomical amount of money to continue to have a fantastic education? That's something Texas A&M has long had on for a very long time, and I certainly hope we're going to continue working on that. Look at diversity. The issues that address our campus is still a concern that people bring up over and over again. What are we doing? The quality of advising. People call this into question in the last session. I know our advisors work very hard on that. What can we do to improve this? The amount of students studying abroad. The students You email that information.
Yes, I'll be emailing that information out today or tomorrow. You guys will have it later. Let's call for the roll.
Speaking of road,
Howdy.
Jeff Simmons, Joe Wilson,
Go here.
Joe Day,
Howdy.
Joe Webb, Joe Fields,
Give an office,
Joe
Rusty.
Robinson,
Howdy.
Joe Olson, Senator Olson,
Howdy.
Senator Olson,
Howdy.
Senator Fulton,
Howdy, Alex.
Senator Thornburg,
Howdy.
Senator Acker,
Howdy.
Senator Simmons,
Howdy.
Senator Beck,
Howdy.
Senator Smith,
Howdy.
Senator Rankin,
Howdy.
Senator Ranko,
Howdy.
Senator K. Brown, Senator Coleman,
Howdy.
Senator Yagi,
Howdy.
Senator Wiggins,
Howdy.
Senator Strickland,
Howdy.
Senator Bowman,
Howdy.
Senator Smith,
Howdy.
Senator Rousseau,
Howdy.
Senator Petit, Senator Petit, Senator Day, Senator Walker, Senator High, Senator High, Senator Usher, Senator Davis, Senator Williams, Senator Bell, Senator Pitt, Senator Capers,
Howdy.
Senator Sims, Senator Sims, Senator Thomas,
Howdy.
Senator Russell,
Howdy.
Senator Griffin,
Howdy.
Senator Franklin,
Howdy.
Senator Shelton, Senator Jerome,
Howdy.
Senator Solomon, Senator Sarah, Senator Green,
Howdy.
Senator Albright, Senator Thompson,
Guys, be quiet while we do roll.
Senator Thompson,
Howdy.
Senator Herman,
Howdy.
Senator Tyson,
Howdy.
Senator Flash,
Howdy.
Senator Rogers, Senator Wolf,
Howdy.
Senator Franklin, Senator Horner,
Howdy.
Senator Jimenez,
Howdy.
Senator Egelbrecht,
Howdy.
Senator Chambers, Senator Simmons, Senator Messer, Senator Messer, Senator Kelly, Senator Parker, Senator Rivera,
Hey.
Senator Rhodes, Senator Rhodes, Senator Anderson,
Thank you, Speaker, for
Senator Hollis, Senator Hollis, Senator Hollis, Senator Johnson, Senator Randall,
Howdy.
Senator Sutton,
Howdy.
Senator Grout, Senator Ledger, Senator Sarver.
Open.
Howdy.